The media voluntarily will suppress this information, just like many in the media, mainstream media, for the past week or so, has been demanding that this kind of action be taken instantly. This is exactly what the fuck CNN, MSNBC, Morning Joe, liberals... I don't.
Every type of social protest, whether it be abortion, whether it be animal rights liberation, the full spectrum of these people are here.
Yeah, well, they're not that smart because they can't bring a pizza box to the second floor. Jonathan Gilliam, thank you so much for joining Jesse Waters Primetime.
If you were to live anywhere in the world except the U.S., where would you want to go? Easy, Japan. The Japans. Called immigrant overflow facilities.
And driving down Broadway heading south now is a
It's just bad when Trump does it.
Police bus.
Great, thank you, Perry. I just wanted...
The gate is open. The gate, well, they just closed it, but the 114th gate did open temporarily.
Hi, Macy. I'm
Maybe
sorry,
for
I
about
hate
2
to interrupt.
seconds.
We're seeing corrections buses going down 115th Street and Broadway, turning left onto 114th.
The lights are flashing right now, so in case something might be coming on soon. With the fact that 114, I think people in public safety are currently trying to unlock the gates.
Yes, we'll be back later.
I appreciate the report. So once again, we can confirm that the gates are being opened. We have our field porters there that will be giving...
Sorry, Missy,
yep,
to
go
correct,
ahead.
just to kind of avoid any panic, they were open for like 2 seconds. I think that the public safety officers were just trying to ensure that they could, in fact, open the gates. I think they were just kind of testing it. It is closed now.
Okay, I appreciate
granted,
that.
it's not locked, but it's closed.
Great. Thank you so much. I just also wanted to reiterate the email that just came out. Shelter in place for your safety due to heightened activity on the Morningside campus. Non-compliance may result in disciplinary action. Avoid the area until further notice. That is very important to note. Also, it does somewhat nullify the statement from Columbia University Apartheid Divest that said there was no threat of arrest for those who remained on the West Lawn. We really can't confirm that statement, especially after this emergency notice has come out. I also just wanted to note that students for at least an hour now have been having trouble accessing their dorms. Those that live on campus have not been allowed entry because of the block off of the police barricades. So it's a bit difficult to have this emergency warning out when we know that there are students that are not able to access their living situations. So I just want to make sure everyone is on alert for that.
The wildest part about this is that it's in the middle of New York City. So when you block off, when you get the police on board and you block off fucking public roads, you're not only blocking off traffic and whatnot, but you're also stopping students from entering their fucking place of residence. It is insane.
To make sure they all stay safe, I'm going to hand it over to Ted now. Ted.
Yeah, thank you, Macy. And I just want to note on kind of the presence of journalism right now. There's many journalism school students out here right now. They have been in coordination with their dean to grant some access to make sure that they can continue to do journalism in this very important moment. We also were able to ourselves get a few individuals in with the help of this journalism school dean. So, there are many high up individuals at Columbia who know that there are student journalists working on this. Our faculty advisor was in contact with Dean Fromm earlier. So the student journalists, have been committed to this story the entire time, and they will be committed to this story. It seems like to the end tonight.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate that update. It's very valuable to have not only WKCR but also the journalism school out there tonight. Ian, I'm going to hand it over to you if you have an update.
Thank you, Macy. I wanted to update on the West Lawn right now, where the ongoing encampment is still placed. We have some people taking off the flags from the kind of line that they had out, which flags were placed under. But I will say also,
University of New York, another place where there's student demonstrations happening.
The low numbers of people at the West Lawn right now is incredibly noteworthy. There is, I want to say I could count on maybe 1 or 2 hands right now, the amount of people here. I'd say I had 5 to 10 people here right now, but it seems that they are busy. The people who are there are busy dismantling the encampment right now as it goes on. And as police build up around a campus, I think the question remains, what is going to happen to the West.
I thought CUNY was CUNY, and then SUNY is State University of New York. SUNY is State University of New York. CUNY is CUNY. You're wrong. Or City College of New York, CCNY.
A faculty statement on imminent police action at Columbia University. This is for immediate release, April 30th, 2024. The statement reads, at this hour, the NYPD is massing on barricaded streets outside the gates of Columbia University. Columbia faculty has spent the day offering our help to defuse the situation on Columbia's campus and have been rebuffed or ignored. We have been locked out of our campus and have demanded to be allowed back in and have been rebuffed or ignored. This is not new. Columbia faculty have attempted for the past 2 weeks to intervene in the situation, only to be shut out by senior university leadership. NYPD presence in our neighborhood endangers our entire community. Armed police entering our campus places students and everyone else on campus at risk. That is why university statutes require consultation with faculty, statutes which appear to have been ignored since April 17th and again tonight. We hold university leadership responsible for the disastrous lapse of judgment that have gotten us to this point. The university president, her senior staff, and the board of trustees will bear responsibility for any injuries that may occur during any police action on our campus. So that is a faculty statement on imminent police action at Columbia University.
Thank you, Perry. That is a very important statement, once again, from faculty at Columbia University. Important to hear their perspective on things.
They deserve to be here.
I just wanted to reiterate,
without a protest, none of us would be here.
What about with, the way that the...
Oh, here we go. They're going to fucking put microphones on the face of adults that are there, some of which will have great media moments, many of which will not. And then they're going to bait them and be like, look, see, they love Hamas, all of these people.
States is doing is so much more than just worth broken glass. We'll always be able to repair that glass, but the fact that there's 30, 40,000 lives that will never, ever, ever be taken back.
Yeah. So what will you guys do when the police come right in here and, end up maybe handcuffing people and arresting them?
We'll do what we always done. We'll get arrested, just like the criminals in the subway. They're always right back out in 24 hours.
24 hours in New York City. That's right. That's about correct. So
no, they should rot in jail permanently. You're right. He's talking about fair hoppers, you fucking asshole. Yeah, fair hoppers are released in 24 hours because why the fuck would they be? Why would they exhaust state funds for longer than that? Oh, now let's talk about the real suppression of free speech.
Threatening to throw the Republican nominee in jail for exercising his freedom of speech.
Oh!
You know what? Actually, we're going to go back now to Alexis. Alexis, what's happening now?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you here. These NYPD officers just pulled up. So this is kind of a look here. They have their riot gear and they're walking in. We're talking dozens of police, okay? So this shows you the NYPD is not messing around at this point. They're sick and tired of these students kind of taking over the university. And if the university is going to allow it, doesn't mean the police department has to, because things have been getting a little bit out of hand here and a little bit out of control. So they're time to step in, even though, their faces are covered here and they don't want to talk to the media. But the cops are going to go in and do what they do best, try to get everything under control. We've talked to, the chief of patrol several times, who said that they're not going to do this in New York City. They're going to send in the NYPD, the city's best guys, and try to get this under control. They're going to block things off here as best as they can because they don't want things to get out of hand. You saw what happened there with the breaking of the glass right inside and them taking over at that specific part of campus. They don't want it to get out of hand on the streets or have any more students saying they don't feel safe. Talked to kids earlier, Jesse, that said they called 911 last.
Thank God the students feel so safe now. Now that Columbia has shut off like half the fucking students from their dorms, from their place of residence, and left them stranded in the middle of the fucking streets in New York, they probably feel so much safer seeing a shit ton of Gestapo everywhere. Let's talk about the real suppression of free speech.
Threatening to throw the Republican nominee in jail for exercising his freedom of speech. You know what? Actually, we're going to go back now to Alexis. Alexis. Do something. You just saw them cordon off the street, and I believe we saw some men in riot gear, police horses. What do you think the right move is here? Just to wait for the call from the Columbia president?
Well, what we're seeing is a lot of political pressure, both local and national, politics within the police department and with the prosecutor's office. What the right move should be, in my opinion, is to get them out of that building, place them under arrest for trespassing, and nullify the situation. Because as you said, like making a comparison to a petulant child, they will keep pushing and taking until they are stopped. And they don't see anything stopping in the near future. As that interview in the street, you heard that gentleman say, we're going to get out in 24 hours anyway. So this is, you know, we're reaping what we're sowing in law and order right now. And it's a sad state of affairs, in my opinion.
You're saying it's now been politicized. You're saying politicians could be calling the Colombia president, possible Democrats. We know Morning Joe thinks this is absolutely terrible for the Biden campaign. Do you think she's under pressure from politicians to call the NYPD in tonight?
Absolutely. I think the president of the college wants to take the onus off her and make the boys and women in blue the bad guys. And then when they get arrested, we'll see tomorrow morning, dollars to donuts, we will see them marching out, waving their flags with no criminal record. And that will only perpetuate more.
Yeah, we should kill them. Like, we should keep them in prison permanently, these students, for the crime of what exactly? Well, you know, for being upset about Israel doing genocide.
That the NYPD kind of forcing the Colombia president's hand to say, listen, this is directed from the outside. We know who these people are. You either do the right thing or this is going to get ugly fast.
Absolutely. This is being pushed to this ultimate conclusion. So all the potential violence, the buildup that you're seeing is being used as a propaganda tool across the country to be re-employed in colleges across the country. They're planting a mind virus in these college students. They're very malleable. And this has happened between the professors and outside agitators that are coordinating this, in my opinion.
Yeah, the NYPD officer, the female, said that this wasn't going to stop here. And she said it in not any uncertain terms. She predicted this is going to spread in New York City. It's going to spread to other colleges in New York City, and it's going to spread across the country. Does she have access to intelligence that tells her this is only just getting started?
Well, there are various now. My guess is the Joint Terrorist Task Force, the NYPD Intel Division, they are looking into this, and they're not revealing everything they know. But this is not happening organically. There is, in my opinion, communications all over the country. This is a coordinated effort, and it's akin to rolling a snowball down a hill. And once you get it to a certain velocity, it takes a life of its own. And that.
Wait, I don't get it. Then don't fucking behave like animals. He's like, listen, once you deploy the police, it's just like they're going to be like animals, and then people are going to get mad. It's like, yeah, dude, well, then don't fucking be animals.
Well, at this point, I think that it's ridiculous that they've even had to have this much of a discussion. The law enforcement should have been in there a long time ago and started arresting these people. But of course, because of the pushback from the universities, it's now at this place where some sort of negotiation is yet again having to be reached.
Do you believe that there is an actual terrorist angle, an overseas terrorist angle through Iran, through Hamas, as some of the other guests were speculating?
I think that there's going to be a wide range of individuals that are involved in this, but there's no doubt that there's a conspiracy, even at the local levels here, that these people can be charged with, even with the trespassing, with the property destruction and things of that sort. That's just local law enforcement even.
So you have the local law enforcement, but if you follow the money too, if you see where the tents, they look like $300 REI tents, all the same green. I guess that's the color of Hamas. And they're all purchased, and do you think if that would be able to put a case together, the money?
Well, there's absolutely coordinated effort.
This is the part of the video shown by the NYPD to prove that their intel that the Colombia protests have been co-opted by professionals.
Making a barrier to be dragged into Hamilton Hall. Here's Here's an example of two individuals breaking into windows. Again, the black bloc attire is something that we've seen in protest activity for quite some time. Barricades that are being dragged into Hamilton Hall. Again, people unaffiliated with the school who are assisting in allowing them entry. Some training sessions that are occurring within the encampment itself. That is something that the university has been very clear that only university students are to be allowed within the encampment. And these are just some still shots of some of the property destruction that we saw within Hamilton.
Unimaginable. The streamer is live on the campus of the protest right now. I mean, this is outside of the campus, though.
NYPD is currently 6Y. Damn. I was really expecting them to come here first.
Oh, at first I got scared, but then I saw he's director of media for Blau. Oh, thank God. At first I was a little scared. I was like, uh-oh. NYPD is busy dealing with other kids. You're next, buddy.
I am at Hyde Hall. There's no way.
That is so insane. Is Naivete a part of the protest? I can already smell the fucking Divorcelli, Octoberelli chatters in his chat. You guys are going to ruin his fucking stream by following him and shit, by the way. Unless he knows how to cancel his alerts. They're in there. They're in there to debate this student.
Blockades. There are blockades in the north, blockades in the south. Yep. Mute my alerts. Wasn't expecting to get an audience. I'll be real with you. Sorry. HasanAbi. Oh shit. What's up? Yo, if I could get some Haas mods to DM me their names through Frogan or somebody else, I'd appreciate that. I'm struggling out here.
Oh no.
All right, let me catch you up. I've been here for about 2 hours. They blockaded the street. NYPD blockaded the street about 2 hours ago. I asked them if people inside of this barricade are allowed to be here. They stated yes. They asked me if I wanted to leave. I said no. For the past 2 hours, there has been a population of about one cop for every 2 protesters. I mean, the amount of NYPD resources being spent on this side of the protest was insane. Since then, they haven't allowed anybody but students through. I haven't been able to leave because I'm not a student. I've been able to leave because I wouldn't be able to go back in. Since then, the crowd has increased. I have heard on the ground that people are unable to enter if they're suspended. Columbia University Emergency Medical Vehicle, interesting. My understanding is that all of these students are either suspended students or people who were here more than 2 hours ago, like me, who walked in and were allowed to. Turn off notices. I wish I could. I'm streaming to a computer. And I don't have access to that computer.
Sounds like they've isolated.
Hasan sends his regard. Hey, I wish I wore my merch, man. This is the one day I didn't. But seriously, if I will not accept any DMs, any people saying they're Hasan mods in the DMs. I need direct Discord DMs through Frogan, Capri Sun Poppy, or somebody I can trust, somebody I know. If you want to get moderated.
You guys are fucking so annoying, dude. Stop. You're ruining the dude's stream.
For anybody else on campus.
He can't disable it from his phone. I mean, he probably could, but I'm not going to explain
Cordoning
it to
off
him.
the outside so the outside agitators can't join. And they'll just probably, if the call's been made, move through, take down the tent city first, and then go into Hamilton Hall?
That would be my guess. You know, this is very unfortunate, Jesse, that we have even gotten to this point. This is a direct result of failed leadership at Columbia University. Those that had such a need to side with the woke progressive movement in our country, and they refused to take a stand. I would like to read, as a former FBI special agent, we continue to talk about what are the feds doing in this. And that is an important thing to discuss right now, because I sure hope that the FBI is as interested in this as they were in the January 6th investigations. Because in my opinion, what you're seeing on your screen is not a right to protest. This is a strong demonstration of those that have experienced terroristic threats. Jewish students cannot even attend their school in peace. I will read straight from DOJ's website.
Bro, what are you saying right now? Ain't nobody can go to school right now because of Columbia's actions. Like, the fuck are you saying? Watching Fox makes me miss the libs? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make me miss the libs. You want to know why? The liberals are almost just as bad.
University of Texas, they went in there and said, enough is enough. Governor Abbott said, we will not tolerate this. Other places, University of Florida, I believe, had 9 arrests yesterday. They come in and say, this will not be tolerated. Well, it's tolerated in New York, and you even heard one of the protesters or witnesses say, you know what, I have no problem with this. I'll get arrested and I'll be released later tomorrow, you know, within 24 hours. And that is what is wrong with our country right now. These soft on crime policies do not work. And now you've crossed the line, and these are terroristic threats. You have Iranian leadership praising what these protesters in the United States are doing. Jesse, this has got to stop. And again, people do have their First Amendment rights. This crossed the line of First Amendment rights a long time ago. And this cannot be tolerated.
It sure did. University of Florida saying this isn't a daycare center. Nicole, thank you so much. Let's now bring in Outkick.com host Tommy Lahren. Tommy, Joe Biden pretty quiet. What's going on at the White House?
Well, Joe's probably already asleep, let's be honest, Jesse, but he should be up, and he should actually be at least addressing the press, if not addressing.
He should be up, awake, he should be killing a student
cities and states all across the country. And then you've got his press secretary looking in her binder for a response, and all she can muster the intelligence to say is that she's going to let the university handle it. Well, the universities are not handling it, as we're seeing here. This is also a lose-lose situation for NYPD because, Jesse, we all know NYPD is going to go in there. They're going to attempt to do their job. They're going to be demonized and painted the villain. And then these pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian protests will also turn into defund the police, BLM protests. And we know that while these perpetrators are going to get out in 24 hours, they're probably going to get settlements like they did in 2020 due to quote-unquote police brutality. So this is what it's like, America, if you choose to live in a blue city in a blue state run by Democrats. This is the glorious picture you have to live with.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. And it looks like we have some of the top brass now moving in a more show of force. Let's go back to Alexis McAdams, who's on the ground.
Horny.
Alexis, we can.
He's so fucking horny. He's like, hell yeah, get in there.
Hit the streets.
That's right. You can watch him move in right now. They're going to move right through here, Jesse, right in through these cars. And we're going to stop here and let these officers move through. But they're coming in riot gear. They have their batons out, and they're ready to take action. I mean, this has been going on, right, for several days. And they've been waiting here for the call from the university. I checked in with some top police sources who now are here on the ground with the NYPD who tell me they're going to head into that campus momentarily. So that's why they've got those zip ties, those flex cuffs, you name it. They're bringing in extra crews who are used to dealing with this, right? I mean, New York City deals with protests all the time, so they know the drill. And unfortunately for these protesters, a lot of them are going to end up getting arrested. But I think when you hear from somebody how many times, right, over the several days that they don't, you know, if you get out of here, get suspended or get expelled, if that doesn't work, really what will? So I don't think that they really care if they're going to get arrested. You get hit with a disorderly conduct charge, and then we saw just the other day they get out pretty quickly here. So we'll have to see how things play out. Jesse.
All right, thank you so much, Alexis. Let's now bring in former U.S. Army Special Forces Jim Hansen. Jim, the NYPD put out some images earlier in this afternoon at a press conference, showed what looked like Antifa anarchists, all black, diving through windows, and they said they're known criminals throughout the department. What does that tell you?
What?
This has had outside agitation all over it from the very start, Jesse. We already know there is a ton of foreign funding behind this.
What?
There are groups coming across the United States. The
saying?
usual suspects are all in effect. And I think it's time to get serious about this. The issue that really should come into play, a lot of the groups organizing this have chapters in multiple states and are doing this on multiple campuses. That makes them open to a potential RICO prosecution.
Yeah, foreign funding from the Turkish streamer Hasan Hassanabi Piker.
Well, we just heard that the massive civil rights violations already in play, just based off you cannot religiously discriminate against people in this country or target people just based off of their ethnicity or their religious affiliation. That's clearly already happened for about a week at the University of Columbia. And this is just months after the president of Columbia told Congress at a hearing under oath that if you yell anything like kill the Jews or, I don't know, kill...
Wait, what? Pretty remarkable. CNN reporter is live on campus.
Julie, explain what the scene is there like right now and show us around.
Sure, Anderson, we are right outside Hamilton Hall. I'm going to step away so you can have a better sense of the scene. This is the building that protesters have been occupying for almost 20 hours now. There's a human chain that's been formed by other supporters of these students and protesters that are inside of Hamilton Hall. Their aim is to not let police get to protesters that are inside the barricade. You can see this pulley system, Anderson. They're putting things in this.
Bro, they're amazing.
See water that's been going up and down.
They're amazing, dude. The students are fucking amazing.
All day. I've been here since about 6 in the morning, and I could only get in because I am a student. And at the time, students were allowed on campus. At this point, only if you live on campus or you're an essential worker, like you said, can actually be here or enter. There's very few people on campus, and the feeling, as I spoke to 3 undergraduate students, one of them Jewish, about the feeling of being caught in between what is bound to be a standoff.
Want to fucking gag these
terrorist
people.
Organization, which has been designated a terrorist organization by the United States, and are saying that we don't want Jewish people in our movement on campus. They want the destruction of the state of Israel. That's completely different than a traditional anti.
Oh, shut the fuck up, bitch. What? Here's the Columbia University student radio. There's nothing. There's nothing playing right now. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Israel's a much larger terrorist organization than Hamas ever could be, okay?
I'm making a lot of friends out here. So you can kind of see over here some of the protesters as well mixed in with the police, but they're moving in quickly. And this is the strategic response group that's moving in here. They've got those zip ties. They're ready for action here on the ground. I just talked to an NYPD source trying to figure out exactly, Jesse, are they going to move into that Hamilton Hall where they took over those students and are ordering in pizzas and getting all comfortable supposedly until graduation? Or are they going to move into that pro-Gaza solidarity encampment that
John J. Gates
President
currently, and 2 public safety officers currently telling people to stay away from the steps and to not crowd the steps as they kind of were at Carmen. But Ian and I are here right now, and we will keep you posted on whether or not the NYPD is going to enter through the John J. Gates
Great, thank you. Does anyone have an urgent update?
Yeah, Macy, if I could
Hi.
jump in here. Natalie and I are on 114th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam. The police are clearing every individual who is here out of the way of the Carmen gates right now. They're literally on the sidewalks, pushing individuals back so that they are not in the way. There are barricades set up ostensibly so that the police have space to organize before they move through these gates. I want to emphasize that these gates are not open yet, but that there is a pretty heavy police presence. And that they're interacting with students here. We've heard sort of shouts of shame in response to the police presence here. And it seems now that a large group of them seem to be headed back towards Broadway. This is a developing situation. We'll bring you updates as soon as we have them. But just to say that there are interactions here between police and bystanders, and they seem to be sort of focused on one of the houses here. And we'll try to get more
students are
updates on why
remaining
that is.
steadfast
Thanks,
and
Macy.
determined to defend Heinz Hall
Thank you.
until,
Casey, over
until
to you.
liberation.
Hey, wait, Casey,
I'm here
before
with
you
Sarah.
go, no, before you go, Sawyer, sorry, I got separated from Sawyer. Sorry, if you can hear me, I am at College Walk by 116th right now. Sorry, if you can come meet me here so that we don't get separated again. It's just easier to communicate it that way.
They're bringing a mobile ramp up to the Hamilton Hine building, currently being
Hi,
occupied.
yes,
Students
we,
are barricading
as
the
Sarah
upper
noted,
story windows.
We, as Sarah...
Holy shit, look at this.
Casey, we can't quite hear
Number of
you.
press
You're
was-
back.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, you're back. Go ahead.
Is that all right, Macy? Okay, yes, there's a large group of journalists that were gathered at the Carmen Gates of 114th Street, but then they all began to, of course, run to the 116th and Broadway Gate. And now it seems that this whole sort of line has disappeared, and we will keep you updated on that. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. It seems to be sort of...
Yeah, no worries, Casey. Thank you for the update. And once again, stay safe out there. Stay in pairs, all of our field reporters. I'm going to hand it over to Perry right now. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm still on 116th and Broadway. I report that 2 corrections buses have parked between 116th and 115th Broadway.
Great. Thank you. Ted, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, Macy, I'm going to be really quick. I'm inside of the lobby of John Jay right now. There's several panicked students trying to access any building right now because we are aware that there are NYPD on campus. And the security guards at John Jay are yelling at individuals that they will only let residents of John Jay into the building. So again, it's very unclear where all these bystanders will go because all these dorms are locked to only students who live in the dorms, and major buildings like Butler are shut down.
Thank you, Ted. Ben, over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It seems that what was happening with regards to the brownstones, the houses on 114th, what was described to us by the ACLU protest monitor, who is also watching the scene, was that the police officers were...
I'm a Columbia student. The protesters in Hamilton are not a threat to anyone. What they're doing is the same as the students did in 1968 in response to the Vietnam War. There are absolutely no terroristic threats being made by the CUAD or students in Hamilton. The only violence we're afraid of is the NYPD raiding our campus and the building. Absolutely. I'm also trying to reach any of the students I possibly can that are inside or outside around the, like a part of the CUAD. I'm talking to some of the media liaisons that is a part of the CUAD, but they're not inside or near the encampment right now. So, you know, I want to dispel the rumors or misinformation. So if you know somebody personally that's inside the deoccupied Hind building, they probably also don't use Discord. Yeah, I know they don't. They're not freaking nerds. They're grass touchers. I couldn't communicate with them earlier because they needed Signal. I don't have Signal, and I can't do Signal on. Why am I not there and sitting on my ass to serve you top of the hour ad breaks, of course, and then tell you that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free. I wish I was there. I wish I could be there. It's unfortunately thousands of miles away from where I live. Let's go back to CNN.
But now I think it was maybe a bit of a false alarm. You know, obviously students are hearing inside what we're reporting, what other outlets are reporting. Everyone is kind of just trying to figure out what happens next. And as they're scrambling, there's movement, there's a lot of running and stopping, and people asking, where's the police? This is why I was trying to figure out where Shimon is exactly. I believe we're just quite exactly in our diagonal here. So that's...
Yeah, here's our Columbia University student, UB. Some other chatters know this, but I'm a Columbia student. I can tell you right now that the choice to occupy Hind Hall came from both just the 60s Vietnam, not just the 60s Vietnam protests, but also the South African divestment protests in 1985 and the ethnic studies hunger strike in 1995. Hind Hall is an escalation that is completely because the admin ended all forms of negotiation. Today, Columbia arbitrarily suspended students, some of which had nothing to do with protests. Yeah. Ironic because Columbia University, as of today, still earlier today, literally had on their website the unjustifiable actions taken against the student protesters in 1968. Like they celebrate the students as brave,
Amsterdam
bold warriors.
Side. That's what they're seeing. Just over here, there's a wall, so we can't really see what's going on right outside the gates. I'm a little blinded in here, and honestly, all of these students will be in a corner once police comes in. There's nowhere for them to go. It's a wall. It's a barricaded building, and then I showed you before, you know, that up here we see residences, students on their windows just waiting to see what happens. And I want to pivot a little bit more to the other side, just so you have an idea of the layout here, Anderson, is that these are tents that showed up this afternoon, moved from the South Lawn where all of this began really a couple weeks ago. And this is where the rush has been going on. People are just kind of running out towards 114th, which is a gate. All gates are closed except for one. Actually, I don't know. Probably our colleagues on the outside would have a better sense of what it's like out there. But with only one gate open, everything else is closed. This is residences. I don't know where people will go once police comes in.
Right. Julia, stand by. Appreciate what you are doing. I want to go to Miguel Marquez, where his location is the right-hand side of your screen. Miguel, I think you're around 114th and Broadway. Talk about what you've been seeing. Last we saw you, police were moving into what we believe was a dorm building that's slightly off campus.
Yes. Ken,
what's going on?
Anderson, turn the camera around here, Ken. This is what we are seeing right now. Just massive numbers of NYPD going in with helmets, many of them with batons and flexi cuffs. They are streaming in off Broadway. We're on 114th, just east of Broadway, so between Broadway and Amsterdam. The closest access to where the encampment is on just off 114th here. Around the corner from us on Amsterdam is where Hamilton Hall is and where protesters have remained at that gate. The main gate at 116th and Broadway, we were there earlier and there was nobody there.
Police are moving in.
But there's any activity there right now. They've blocked off that entire area.
Okay, right after the fucking news
Again, there is
broke,
no pedestrian traffic here. People were moving
police
through
are
freely.
now moving towards the campus. All right, going back to student radio.
Okay. But there is a flood of police and riot gear ostensibly trying to come in. People are booing on the street. They're not moving very far in. Sarah, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, does anyone else have an update?
Hi, wait, yes, can I please, sorry, I forgot to unmute, a bit chaotic right now, but yes, okay, so there is a group of SRG officers in mass, in riot gear. They are walking towards me and Sawyer right now. Okay, can everybody in the studio please be quiet, because this is kind of a high stress situation. So Sawyer and I are walking face towards this group of SRG officers. They are walking up, I don't know what this street would be called. They're walking kind of parallel to Alfred Lerner.
SRG Strategic Response Group.
In between Alfred Lerner and Butler. I'm going to keep on the line to kind of track where they're going. The public safety officer, okay, they are diverging right now. Some of them are going in front of Butler. Some of them are going parallel to the West Lawn encampment. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. They are all going towards
just kidding.
Parallel to Butler. That is on one of the circumferences of the West Lawn. I'm just kidding. Once again, they are reforming. Sorry if this if I'm a little bit chaotic. They're starting around. I'm going to go off the air now. Unless Sora, you want to make another comment?
Yeah, can I jump in real quick here? From our vantage point on West 114th Street, Natalie and I can confirm
sorry,
that police...
Ben, I gotta interrupt. I'm right here as a large group is walking by. They've split. I am seeing officials from all guards, and this is. I have Leon here with an update too.
Half of them, I'd say, are going towards low side, facing on the left side.
I'm gonna need to interrupt real quick. Yeah, we got a large mass coming. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt real quick. We got a large mass of police officers coming into campus again. A lot of them in riot gear. I would say in the 40s or 50s right now, walking down Butler again. Butler barricaded down. There's a public safety officer within Butler looking. At the police officers moving in, they're moving, turning left towards Hamilton Hall again, where it is occupied. We have a large congregation of police officers, 40 or 50. Okay, we have another group.
If I can interrupt you, Georgia and I do have a vantage point here. It does seem that the NYPD is headed directly toward Hamilton Hall. They're rounding the corner here at Butler, and I see a mass of students running away. It seems they're trying to get out of the way of
David, I'm so sorry. I really need to interrupt you. We have a really good vantage point here from Butler Library.
Go for it.
We can see different cohorts of NYPD officers. One is going across Butler lawns towards Hamilton Hall. The other one is going past Alfred Lerner Hall and around the lawns. They are currently encircling the east and west lawns right now. Students are running away in fear. I want someone on the Hamilton side of this to provide their perspective, but
I can
yeah, go ahead.
I can speak to that here. We have a large group of people shouting shame at the NYPD officers. I'm gonna.
I love them.
The fact that a lot of the spectators
I fucking
are
love
also
them. They're
choosing to remain
amazing.
outside as they approach. It appears, from what I can tell, that
they're
fucking
fucking amazing.
Still where they are at this sort of like intersection where they would turn to get closer to Hamilton. I don't know if you have a better viewpoint on that, McKenna. If you want to speak to that. It appears
I want to get my news coverage from them on them
only. Can you speak to that?
I can't exactly see if they're advancing from where they were, but it does appear that, okay, now there's a group of NYPD officers marching down and converging in the middle. They are moving towards the West Lawn encampment, it seems. Wow, I have never seen this many NYPD
There's another group
officers.
here moving north. Near Hamilton Hall, it seems that they're stopping at the east lawn, although I can't tell what they're doing. Students are still dispersing, trying to get out of the way, but they're definitely getting a lot closer to Hamilton Hall.
I want to emphasize that the students outside of the Hamilton Hall are still singing very loudly the song that we heard before, "Your people are my people." They are singing this loudly, more loud than they have before, in anticipation. Go. Okay,
I'm
sorry.
Georgia, the human barricade is still going too here at Hamilton Hall. Sorry, Sarah.
Yes. No, you're all good, David. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to our listeners. I'm sorry that we keep interrupting each other. But this is a difficult thing to coordinate. I just want to announce that the SRG officers have formed. They are now officially circumferenced the entire West Lawn encampment. I did notice many of them, I would say maybe 2/3, are in fact carrying their batons. And so once again, and also I can see that their body cameras are flashing, which I would think means that their body cameras are on. Yeah, so like I said,
there's a group advancing north here near Hamilton Hall. They're about to reach the southwestern corner of Hamilton Hall, and students are moving out of the way now.
Okay, great updates from our field team. We really appreciate all that you guys are doing, and I know there's a lot of emergency situations going on right now. So again, large police presence on campus. It appears they are not only just at Hamilton Hall, but also surrounding the West Lawn. Georgia, can you give an update?
Yeah, so they were walking north along the sort of, again, these are just paths on campus. They were just walking north along the sort of west facade of Hamilton Hall. A lot of people here were expecting them to turn to then come onto the south facade of Hamilton. Right now, it seems like they're just kind of confused. Their commander, or whatever the word is telling them to turn around, stop. We're currently being ordered as press and those like sort of approaching them to get back. So that is what I'm going to do. But it seems actually now that they're just kind of continuing to form this circle around now the East Lawn, perhaps. It's really confusing. They are now sort of spread out more than they were in a bunch before. Hi, David. David's with me now. So we're going to monitor this. But honestly, I'm just a little bit confused about what's going on.
Yeah, no worries. And also, can I get an update on whether or not there are still bystanders, normal Columbia students out on the lawns with this police presence?
Totally. Yeah. A lot of people, and more than we've seen probably all night. I think even more people came out of their dorms tonight to see what's going on, despite the shelter-in-place advisory from the university.
I actually have a different response. By the West Lawn, there's really not that many spectators. Most people here are press, and that seems to be rough about it.
NYPD is marching. NYPD is marching out to Hamilton Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, David. David, go ahead.
Yeah, let David.
David and I are moving away. We're turning toward Hamilton Hall. NYPD is now marching toward the southern side of Hamilton Hall. The student press has scattered and gotten out of the way. They are rapidly approaching the human wall. They seem slowly marching.
Who do you think is threatening students,
Chat? A good 20 to 30, maybe 40 to 50 NYPD officers in riot gear are now telling other people to also disperse.
Who do
and
you
move
think
out
is
of the
threatening
way.
students, Chad?
Sort of, Macy. Yes, this is Sarah again. So, I have a camera with me, and I was trying
Not only did they tell the police to go in and storm the fucking campus, they also went ahead and arbitrarily suspended Columbia University students. There are reports from Columbia University students of having been suspended when they were in class. They weren't even at the encampment for pro-Palestinian sentiment that they've demonstrated.
Yes, so sorry to interject, Sarah. We're being moved here in Hamilton, or near Hamilton, even further south. We're being told to continue to clear out and move out, at least as spectators. So the NYPD is making quite a large perimeter around Hamilton Hall, it seems. We are now pushed fully almost to the entrance of Wallach. Most of us are crowded around John Jay at this point. If they push us any further, I'm not really sure where we're expected to go, since, of course, these shelter-in-place orders may not necessarily be followed through by public safety officials inside of the dorms.
And if I may, just for a second, also add that the student barricade that was human barricade that was formed outside of Hamilton Hall is still there. They did not move. They are currently standing arm in arm along the facade of Hamilton, waving a Palestinian flag, and now we're being moved back. Okay.
Once again, thank you for your updates, field team. Yeah, go ahead, McKenna.
Can I jump in? Thank you. I just wanted to know, as Ian and I are standing at one of these pillars in front of Butler Library, we have a really good vantage point of both of the lawns. As Sarah was alluding to earlier, they have NYPD officers stationed at pretty much every entrance, every corner of every lawn on lower campus right now. This is incredibly contrasting to the initial arrest that we saw on April 18th, when there were thousands and thousands of Columbia students witnessing the arrest taking place. Now it seems that the number of NYPD officers far outnumbers the number of protesters that we have here on campus today.
Don't you think sometimes students in the USA take extreme measures? They don't have a clear idea what the situation on the ground level with Gaza?
Also, there's no email before the arrest. I know we...
Can you explain to me exactly what's going on? Don't you think... Wait, Gaza, a UN ground support crew member? Are you actually telling me that you are going to sit here and LARP as a fucking on-the-ground UN ground support crew member and tell me that, like, the student protesters are actually in the wrong because the situation on the ground in Gaza is actually good? Are you on fucking crack? There is no fucking way this person is actually a UN person, right? Brother, if you were actually on the ground in Gaza right now, I think you would recognize that the situation that's unfolding in front of you is completely unjustifiable, but only on the police presence. It's perfectly valid to protest what the fuck Israel's been doing in Gaza.
And we asked, well, where do we go? And he just said, oh, I don't know. And then turned away. So we actually don't know where to go. What's happening? They're locking the gates. And now they're locking the gates. Oh, this is okay. They're locking the gates, between Butler and John Jay. This is basically the only exit we would have out at this point if we were not going.
Bro thought he was cooking. He was just cooking crack.
Where do we go? Sorry, guys. I'm gonna mute myself. You can go.
Okay, Georgia, please stay safe. And David, yeah, we're gonna definitely keep an eye out to make sure that David and Georgia are safe. That's our first priority here at WKCR, making sure that all of our correspondents are safe.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you again, Sarah. I do want to point out that NYPD is now barricading John Jay residents inside of John Jay, while also telling us to get out of the vicinity or go inside. Frankly, I'm not sure how we're supposed to comply with these directions since we can't go inside and we cannot exit as the gate is now sort of closed off to our left. I think they might just keep us here on the southern end of this little lawn outside of Hamilton Hall.
Okay,
sorry, Macy, I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, sorry, we have a bit of an urgent.
That's the SRG ramp. NYPD entering the lawns from the south.
That's an MRAP that has a ramp on it. And they're using that ramp specifically to fucking get up to the second floor and third floors. Higher levels that probably weren't barricaded.
We have a bit of an urgent update. I'm going to have to send it over to Ben. Ben, can you hear me? Okay, I will just phrase what Ben said.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. We are now being escorted off of the premises, both press, spectators, anyone else. Frankly, no one here is left to document whatever might go down at Hamilton Hall, as we are now being told to leave the premises. No one is outside. Everyone is barricaded inside of their dorms here in the lawn outside of Hamilton Hall. We're now being escorted off the premises by NYPD. I'm not sure where they're going to put us, but I don't think we have any reporters anymore that are outside of Hamilton Hall.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that the amount of people I see around me right now with student press on their backs or on stickers of whatever kind.
Message here.
So in the crowd here was saying, who is going to
You're heading out to 114th and Broadway, is that right?
Anyone else? Frankly, no one here is left to document whatever might. I'm heading towards those gates. They're opening the gates now for us all to leave.
Why are they kicking out the press? Why are they kicking out the press? Why are they kicking out the press, you think?
Okay. And as far as you can see, Julia, at Hamilton Hall, I don't know if you can still see Hamilton Hall. Is there any movement over there, or you can't see anymore?
I'll show you what's happening from Hamilton Hall now. You see those officers coming out on the left side of the screen. They're coming from the direction of Hamilton Hall.
Okay.
Right behind these bleachers here, that's where Hamilton Hall is. Right there, that building up there, that's Hamilton Hall. We can't see it anymore. And police is just pushing us out.
Okay. Julia, remarkable work. I really appreciate it. We'll check in with you momentarily as soon as you get situated. Shimon Prokupez. Shimon, where are you and what are you seeing?
So we're on 114th Street. We're just, the NYPD has put us all in an area here in expectation that we will see some people leaving. We're here on 114th Street, just outside the gates here in the front, and we're just waiting to see if anyone comes out. We have seen we have seen heavily armed officers and some big trucks arriving here, which is pretty significant. And right now, much of the law enforcement is just standing around and as
Instagram.
some of the students who live in the
SJP
dorms here,
Instagram
some of them
studio,
are just standing
Instagram video
around
is
and
down.
Shimon, let me ask you.
Go ahead,
We're
Anderson.
looking at a shot from Spectrum News, New York 1, of officers. It looks like gaining entrance to a building on some sort of a crane or looking into a window.
They better not break that window, dude. You can't be doing more crimes to stop the crime to begin with, right? Remember, chat. Remember, these fascist fucking assholes are there because windows were broken. So why are they further breaking the windows? If property damage is what they are trying to avoid, why are they fucking doing property damage? Oh, there it is. That's a window broken. Oh no. I guess it's time to send in the fucking National Guard to arrest these cops too. Remember, that's what they tried to make this about. The reason for this level of fucking militant police presence is because, you know, they broke windows. Just so you understand, this is all fucking bullshit and has everything to do, nothing to do with the broken windows at fucking Hamilton Hall and everything to do with beating the shit out of those who dare fucking criticize Israel's genocide. Okay? Understand that.
To this building where several
Does anyone
of
look
the
hurt? Can you tell if
protesters,
students are hurt?
broke in early this morning.
So is that the...
Students, I'm sorry. You have a lot of discussion. They're going to go. I'm sorry. Why they're pushing you? It's aggressive.
Okay, so I'm going to keep you guys muted for now. Please text your updates just because the audio is a little bit hard to hear since it's so loud, but we are hearing that students are being pushed. I'm going to send it over to Ale for an update on Hamilton Hall.
Thanks, Macy. Sorry about that. Again, we'll text updates as we have them, but we have received video evidence of a police contraption currently on 116th in Amsterdam that has a ladder ramp-looking thing that police are using to square up right to the third floor of Hamilton. It is believed that they will start entering there. We have a source stationed at the corner of 116th and Amsterdam sending video evidence. I will continue to report as we see whether police make that their entry point as well.
And once again, we did have reports that there were sledgehammers at the front doors of Hamilton Hall. So it is not just the windows that they are entering through. They are also trying to disband the barricades at Hamilton
riot
Hall.
shields
Georgia,
against students, riot shields against peaceful demonstrators. Okay, it is fucking insane, completely hypocritical.
We can't move. We're basically on the corner of 114. It's really
okay, Sawyer.
It's really unclear.
Sawyer, I see
I'm just gonna let it go over to people who are on the scene right now.
Yeah, Sawyer, I see you're close by. Can you give us an update if possible?
Yeah, they just, the SWAT, or excuse me, the NYPD team that were at the Pollock Rock entrance to Hamilton Hall has just entered through the doors. We can't tell where they're going now.
They
But there's a
pushed
bit of a
all of the
commotion, and
journalists
they have
away
entered the doors.
from the main hall area, the entry point, the main entry point.
Just to confirm that
Into,
police have
Hind
entered the
Hall.
front doors of Hamilton Hall. Once again, they had sledgehammers, riot gear. So that is very important.
So the only thing we can hear is
and I'm going to hand it over to
student
Teddy really
journalists
quick.
talking about what's going on.
I was able to receive video from someone who has a vantage point from Hartley looking onto Hamilton. SWAT has completely cleared out all protesters from the front of Hamilton. I want to repeat, all protesters have been cleared from the front by SWAT quite swiftly, and they are now breaking into the front as well as going in from the windows, as we reported before. They are completely flooding the building from all sides.
Yep. Thank you, Teddy, for that. I just want to ask, McKenna, do you have a good vantage point? Can you report anything for right now?
When they did a B&E, it elicits a police response. Yeah, shut
thank
the
you,
fuck
Macy.
up,
I'm
dumbass.
here with Leon, Casey, and Ian right now.
Yeah, they did a B&E. That's why we need to fucking kill them. That's why we need, like, every fucking tactical dipshit, every tactical dipshit in a fucking 50-mile radius to utilize millions and millions of dollars of resources. Look at these fucking fascist thugs, dude. Imagine being this much of a fucking bootlicker. Oh, no, they broke the windows. Look at what they're doing. Do you know how much property damage is going to happen as a consequence of this? Do you understand? Do you know how much fucking money they're using? Think about that. How much overtime is being paid right now. The only reason why you see these fucking piggies be so goddamn brave is because they know without a shred of doubt that none of those students are actually a real threat. That's why they're fucking so militant. That's why they're so organized. You are an asshole. Yes, what do they have? Go to Gaza. Go to Gaza. What do they have to do to get these people out? You're an idiot and you should go to Gaza and stay there. Yeah, let me go to Gaza so you can fucking do a genocide to me. Thanks, chatter. Go to Gaza. See how badly we are genociding Gaza. Maybe you can die in the genocide. Are those guns drawn? I can't see from this photo. I'm sure they'll just fucking simply tear gas the entire building.
So I worry about the health and safety of the students and of the police, too.
Hey, Judge Scheinlin, when you were on campus as a student back then, I mean, and it was anti-war demonstrations. Was there this pitting of students
I don't think they'll use
each other,
guns.
which is what we have been seeing, you know, this animosity of how, you know, Jewish students have been treated and others?
No, I don't think there was. I think there were activists and less activists. And the less activists simply stayed away from the protesters. But I don't think there was that internal dissent that you're seeing now, which is so pronounced.
Was there widespread support on campus in '68 for the protests?
I think there was more widespread support than there is now. Now it's a very different situation. It's very polarizing,
No, it's not.
As you can imagine, given the context of these protests.
Yeah, totally. Everyone loves
From
Israel.
114th in Amsterdam. There's like 10 of them on the ladder right now and more awaiting. That's what I can see right now.
Thank you, Georgia. Sawyer, I'm going to hand it over to you. You said there was an arrest you could see.
Yes, we saw at least one arrested individual come out of Hamilton Hall. Again, I'm still trying to get a vantage point because NYPD has blocked all of the access points to Hamilton Hall. However, I'm seeing actually another. So they are taking arrested individuals from Hamilton Hall, and it seems like they are going towards the 114th John.
Thank you, Sawyer. So I'm getting reports from Teddy now that there may be an unconscious student in front of Hamilton. Do you have any further confirmation of that, Teddy?
Yeah, I have a video from someone in Hartley looking down onto Hamilton, and yes, there's an unconscious student on the ground. They have
Barnard
removed
student body
most of the
voted for
debris, furniture
divestment
on the
from
side,
Israel.
and there's an unconscious student
Over
on the
half of
side
the
on the
student
ground
body
in front of Hamilton.
participated in the election.
Thank you, Teddy, for that. So once again, we don't know what caused that necessarily. It could have been the police, but we can't confirm it right now. We have also heard that there is tear gas based on what our reporters can smell. It's unclear if that is just inside Hamilton Hall or if that is outside as well. McKenna, do you have a vantage
They're going
point?
in with chainsaws?
Thank you, Macy. I don't have a vantage point of Hamilton Hall right now. I'm currently standing with a bunch of other student reporters, as well as some administrators from the journalism school outside of Pulitzer Hall. We, as Ian mentioned, we were told several times by NYPD officers to enter a building if we were students. However, there are no buildings for us to enter at all. I think we may have access as student press into Pulitzer, but I cannot confirm that entirely. I can see some NYPD officers moving up the middle from north on campus. Right now, it's incredibly difficult to see. Our access and our mobility is incredibly limited right now.
Great, thank you. Once again, I need to state that we do have a live stream going of our coverage on WKCR_ on campus. Once again, that is WKCR_ on campus, and that is because we are having difficulties with our online stream. I just wanted to pass it over to Sarah now.
Where is that?
There are a
Unfortunately, we can't hear you. If you could maybe...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
I'm
you
sorry,
now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was moving. There are a lot of SRG officers right now reporting to Hamilton Hall. I believe most of the SRG officers that were formerly circumferencing West Lawn have now reported to the front of Hamilton Hall. Again, it's hard to say because the vantage points here are not great. Yes, as Teddy's saying in front of Hamilton. There also is just kind of a new wave that we did not previously see. I also received a tip from a source who is on 114th right now that there are more correction buses pulling up. That's my update. Thank you, Macy.
Yes, and we now have a confirmation that there is a fire alarm going off in Hamilton Hall. We are not sure of the cause of that. But yeah, we're also getting pictures of the ladder that police are climbing up to get into the windows of Hamilton. Does anyone else have an update on the ground? Ian, Georgia?
Yeah, I'll go real quick update. Anyone who wants to butt in, they obviously can. I just want to say lots of NYPD surrounding the West Lawn. They already went through and pretty much cleared it. As we kind of noticed, we could not see or could confirm any arrests being made. As I noted before, police even came on campus. There was virtually no one in the encampment at all. In fact, I think most were stationed either at the Hartley campsite there or at Hamilton Hall. So I see now that there's just a lot of police officers guarding the West Lawn as it stands. Thank you.
Everybody was...
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sawyer, I'm going to turn to you if you have any updates. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. There are a number of arrested individuals now coming down.
Do you think these actions and motives are worth risking your academic life for?
To around Butler near the jump day gate.
I don't think there should be a fucking risk.
3 or 4 that I saw previously.
You're asking the wrong question.
Seems to be at least 6 at a time. There
should not be a risk at all in this circumstance to say the right fucking thing. I don't understand why you're being fucking, why you're promoting selfishness as a virtue here.
Can you attest to if there are still bystanders, if anyone that is not involved with the protest has gotten in the way or been hurt?
Here.
I'm still outside campus. So far, I can't see any escalation that's taken place out here, specifically where I am at 114th and Broadway. From what I can see, there are people leaving campus. Are they Okay. So David has a vantage point from his camera. People are being are exiting campus in the sort of zip tie handcuffs here. We're seeing a few of them here. I can recognize these people from the barricade. These are individuals who are in front, part of the human barricade outside of Hamilton Hall. They have been escorted here by the police, it seems, outside of campus.
They're arresting
I'm unsure
students.
why they've just brought them to the end of the barricade here at the street. I'm a little bit confused, but they might be being invited to exit. I'm unsure, but I'll update you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to send it over to Sarah if you have an update, Sarah.
You see, I'm trying to get out of the noise. I'm sorry.
Which are you?
I'm sorry, hold on. Yes, I'm sorry, I had to get out of the noise. Yeah, they are arresting a lot of students. I know that previously we were pretty much unsure of how many students were in Hamilton Hall. I believe now we've maybe seen 20 arrests. I would also like to note that I did see one student being dragged. The student did look very limp. I'm not sure if that was a form of resistance or if that was the student who had passed out. But yeah, the student looked limp. That's all I wanted to note. But that's also speculation that could have been the student with the medical emergency. All right, Macy, back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate, too, that we now have a live stream on our account, WKCR_on campus on Instagram. If the stream online is not working for you, please tune into our live stream, WKCR_on campus, to continue our coverage, or tune in on an FM signal.
This is why.
I wanted to ask McKenna, do you have any updates for us?
For the record, this is why they made sure to pack up the media and move them around. Just so you know. They moved the media away from the courtyard, specifically so they moved the media away from the courtyard, specifically so they could start packing up the students and violently brutalizing them without actual footage coming out of it. Except the difference is, in this day and age in 2024, even if you turn off your fucking body camera and you brutalize a student in the middle of a fucking college campus, there's going to be 7,000 different cameras directly on you. Everybody has phones, dumb fuck. The problem, however, is that the media is also complicit in the suppression of this kind of footage coming out. The media voluntarily will suppress this information, just like many in the media, mainstream media, for the past week or so, has been demanding that this kind of action be taken instantly. This is exactly what the fuck CNN, MSNBC, Morning Joe, liberals, reactionary fascists alike have been fucking demanding. They're getting exactly what they wanted. Adam Schiff asked for this. 26 Democrats asked for this. 26 Democrats personally asked for this to happen. Liberals will turn around and offer some sympathy. Fox News will go and say they get what they deserved. Bill Maher will say that they're narcissistic. Make no mistake. All of this could have easily been avoided with the university doing what doing what Brown did, which is meet the demands of the student protesters. But of course, they did not want to do that. They were far too invested in maintaining their big donors. And in an effort to do so, in an effort to ensure that Robert Kraft isn't fucking upset with the university, they listened to the demands of Robert Kraft in between his rub and tug sessions and sick the rabid dogs of the state on the students. So tell me who fucking terrorized this college campus tonight? Was it the actual pro-Palestinian students themselves, many of which are Jewish too? Or was it the motherfucking NYPD? The answer is simple. Who do you think is a bigger threat to the student population here? This won't stop the encampment and it won't stop the protest. It will only solidify the organizers' support and give them good reason to take more precaution to defend it next time. Oh, 100%. 100%. Twitter took all things Columbia protest related off the trending. I doubt it. Incredible sights, dude. And then liberals talk about Tiananmen Square.
Police are entering the John Jay Gates. So just something to pin if someone can. Okay. Yeah. David has a vantage point here that he can see lots and lots of NYPD entering campus there at John Jay Gates.
Okay, I'm just going to jump on really quick. This is a very important piece of information to know. From our estimates, there were between 20 and 50 protesters that were inside Hamilton Hall.
Bro,
we
what
still
is
don't have a
happening?
confirmation number on that, but just to scale for our listeners, the difference between the amount of protesters in Hamilton Hall and the police response we are seeing tonight. This is the most police response we have ever near what we saw during the first arrests. And it appears that people are being caught up in this that are not necessarily protesters. So once again, we'll keep our eyes on that. We have reporters still in the field. But I'll keep you all posted. It just was important to know again that there were between 20 and 50 protesters inside Hamilton.
Eric Adams said they were awaiting requests from Columbia Abbott to intervene,
which is completely disproportionate
as far
to the police
as I know, they were
response
not
we are
requested.
seeing
You're
tonight.
wrong.
Does anyone
They
on
were.
the field have an update?
Columbia University gave them the go-ahead at 6 p.m. Pacific time, according to ABC News. We broke it here as well. They piled up around Columbia. They blockaded all the fucking streets surrounding Columbia University. And then at 6 p.m. Pacific time, the university administration, without getting any additional fucking, without getting any kind of confirmation from anyone else, no faculty, turned around,
to determine
and
the
sent
best
the
plan to
sent
protect
the
our students
police.
and the entire Columbia community. We made the decision early in the morning that this was a law enforcement matter and that the NYPD were best positioned
They're
to
reading the
determine
Columbia
and execute
University
an
statement
appropriate
now.
response. We believe that the group that broke into and occupied the building is led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university. Sadly, this dangerous decision followed more than a week of what had been productive discussions with representatives of the West Lawn encampment. We severely curtailed the number of people on Morningside campus starting Tuesday morning. Over the course of the day, we updated our community on access to campus buildings and will continue to do so through the next few days. The decision to reach out to the NYPD was in response to the actions of the protesters, not the cause they are championing. We have made it clear that the life of campus cannot be endlessly interrupted by protesters who violate the rules and the law. Early Tuesday, protesters chose to escalate to an alarming and untenable situation, including by vandalizing property, breaking doors and windows, blockading entrances, and forcing our facilities and public safety workers out, and we are responding appropriately as we have long made clear we would. The safety of our community, especially our students, remains our top priority. And before we pass it over to the field again, in fact, unless someone has breaking news, I can do this analysis in a little bit, but 3 things stand out. First is that this language is verbatim lifted from Columbia's press briefing earlier, as well as the language they have been using consistently. The second is that...
I'm so sorry. I do need to interrupt. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
NYPD corrections bus that is coming down 114th and Broadway. And they are now, NYPD is now currently pulling students who are sitting on the ground here at 114th. And NYPD officers as well. They're pulling students off the ground quite violently, I will add. People are yelling to get their hands off of them, but it does appear that they moved the bus down here to possibly stop. Students are being dragged off the road here at 114th in Amsterdam. Now it is cleared, and it is unclear whether or not the bus will continue to go through the intersection here. Yeah.
Once again, we have confirmation that. Go ahead.
That's the update there. I'll let you add anything else. What I'm now seeing is some NYPD officers. There's about 10 of them. The street here. They're opening up the doors of the bus, the NYPD police bus. I don't know where this goes or what it ends up doing here, but I'll send it back to anyone else who has updates.
It's important to note again that the student body here at Columbia still has not received any other email aside from the shelter in place. There was no warning of NYPD coming onto campus, and despite shelter in place, we heard accounts of multiple students that were denied entry into buildings because they did not live there.
I'm sorry, I just want to confirm that that bus was full of protesters. We saw them through the window, and they are driving the bus down in Amsterdam. Sorry to interrupt there, but that is the update. It was full of arrested protesters.
Thank you for that confirmation, Georgia. We appreciate it. Does anyone else on the field have any breaking updates?
Removed. They stopped here. They were on the street, on the ground, Anderson, locking arms again, trying to show
they're trying to stop
that
the
they
buses.
will not leave, but there's only so much that you can do against the NYPD.
So they've now been pushed off the street. You're at 114th in Amsterdam, I can see. So they were pushed off. Interesting that they were not arrested and still haven't been arrested.
No.
Bro, he's so horny. He's like, why aren't they arrested? Arrest them too.
With everyone else. So myself, hundreds of other students that were pushed out off campus. We're here on 114th in Amsterdam. I can't go back inside. A lot of people can't go back. 114th is completely closed off to
Columbia
traffic
University
and
saying that
traffic. We just saw a father with
students
his
that broke in are not
toddler
affiliated with the
daughter
university.
trying to get home eventually police let him go through. But it's a nightmare for anyone who lives here on the Upper West Side. There's lots of people trying to get from one side to the other. Absolutely impossible. Now, we've been, like I said, we've been pushed on to Amsterdam. I think that he will eventually get back into campus. I'm at the Graduate School of Journalism, and we were told that we would have access back to campus. I'm out here, Anderson, with just my phone, AirPods, and a battery pack, so I don't know how long we'll actually last. All of our things are inside. All of our belongings are inside. We didn't plan to be kicked out. We were told that we would have guaranteed entry, especially media. Students of this would be able to go back and forth from campus and out. NYPD saying absolutely not. There's no way that could happen. I don't understand why. I want to show you a little bit more of the action here. Can you get up here, Corinne, a bit and just show a little bit? Everything is stopped.
Oh, there's another.
And
Oh,
now
they
the
should.
protest has basically moved all to outside.
I think there was like 2 layers
And
of
everyone
door,
that was
right?
inside is now.
I'm getting videos from students inside. I'm getting videos from students on campus. From students affiliated with CUAD. They're compiling as much video footage as they possibly can and sending it over so we can take a look at it on stream. Yes, bro, I pulled up the fucking VLC because I don't know if you know this, but there's unfortunately not a lot of fucking on-the-ground reporting occurring as a consequence of the NYPD's brutal tactics of media suppression. They literally personally packed up the legal observers, the medics, all of the fucking student organizers, and everyone that's supposed to be there, specifically so that no one could witness the brutality.
But when they open the door. All right, they're all going in. The cops are going in. Oh my goodness, that's like 50 cops going in. Okay, maybe 20 so far.
Apparently, there are reports that a medic was being denied. Medic is being denied seeing an unconscious student barricaded in John Jay Hall. Here.
Why are you looking at me like that? Do you understand? You were probably sitting in that bus just chewing on your baton, right? Just waiting. Fucking swear to God, these assholes.
There's a student, there's an unconscious student barricaded in John Jay Hall.
This is actually literally a fucking mistake.
Seen from inside the tunnel, signs that there's sewage or tear gas-like smell emanating from Hamilton. Here's more video footage from a dorm room outside of Hamilton of the cops storming. Wait, did you say President called for the police to remain on campus until May 14th? No fucking way.
Flashlights into each room and they're cutting the banners down. Sorry, hearing that news about the police
After
on
locking
campus,
medics into John Jay,
was
NYPD
difficult to
at
hear,
Columbia
especially-
pushed 3 students down the stairs
Yeah,
and
it's
dragged
not
out
somebody
one
who
passed
looks
out
forward to
student.
having police on
They
campus
threw
until
all
I
items
graduated
down the
today,
stairs,
that's all.
endangering students, and pushed a
Yep,
group
so
of
once
5
again,
that were walking
was
without
until
resisting
May
arrest.
17th, which is well past the current graduation date that
after tonight, NYPD will be allowed to have permanent presence on Columbia's campus for the rest of the year.
NYPD permanent presence
Thankfully,
on
we
campus.
have some
Oh my
members of our
God.
news team back in the room here, and everyone is safe as far as we know. Does anyone on the field have any updates? Georgia, can I send it to you if you have a second?
Looks peaceful, bro. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
It's so it's not peaceful.
thank you.
You're right.
The only update we have here is that
Only because of the fucking cops, dumb fuck. What do you mean looks peaceful? Yeah, it was peaceful. And then what happened? It's always peaceful until the fucking cops come. Always. God, the fucking police boot must taste good, dude.
Reporter David Gonzalez. That
NPC ass bitch. Martial law on fucking 18-year-olds protesting against the genocide. Suck my
or
dick.
actually, it could be passersby. We have no confirmation because again,
You
it was
fucking
pretty
freak.
chaotic. But being
Here's a video of the arrested students at Columbia.
Same protesters that were lying on the ground, sort of in the way of the
From the vantage point of John Jay, where students and press have been barricaded into the building.
dragging them away from the scene to clear the way.
We will not rest. We will not rest.
Thank you. I appreciate that, David. And once again, we still have field reporters out there bringing you live updates. You are listening to WKCR FM New York and WKCR HD. That is 89.9 on your dial. And WKCR.org.
At the admissions office entrance of Hamilton, officers pushed protesters to the ground and slammed them with the barricades. One protester lay on the ground, unmoving, as police officers stood over them. Three officers then carried out the individual away from Hamilton. I think we saw that as well.
Maybe 40 minutes into 1 hour, we reported police coming onto campus, and we still have each corner pretty much, I guess, shoulder to shoulder with police officers around the east and west lawn. It stretches so long, I can't really locate it here, and I think the sentiments of Sarah and Georgia are ringing in my brain right now as I see this spectacle here right now.
Yeah, this is what it looked like before the cops entered, by the way.
I appreciate it. And just to clarify, does anyone else, I see Sawyer, you have a view. Do you want to make an update?
Yeah,
here's a letter asking for NYPD occupation.
Inside around the perimeter of the lawn. We previously saw them looking within the lawn, flashing their flashlights into tents and looking in tents. However, it doesn't seem like there's an NYPD presence on the lawn, but I will update. Oh, actually, an update. The entrances to the lawns have been open seemingly, which is a new development.
Thank you so much for that update, Sawyer. Once again, anyone can feel free to interrupt me at any time with urgent updates. I just wanted to update too, because we did have word that police were entering through the windows of Hamilton Hall from the Amsterdam and 116th side of Hamilton Hall. And we have received word that lights are on the top floor.
Did the students' occupation inside the building have a trigger of some sort, or did it just randomly happen after a while? Yeah,
protesters from inside of Hamilton.
Yesterday, no, it was triggered by something. Yesterday, Columbia University, in the midst of the negotiations, the ongoing fake negotiations they were having with the fucking student encampments, decided to arbitrarily say, all right, no more negotiations, pack watch time. You guys are fucking done. If you're still here by this arbitrary time that we have designated, you're going to get fucking arrested and you're going to be suspended. Then they started suspending people's fucking... They started suspending students arbitrarily. Students that were in class, they weren't even at the fucking encampment, were suspected of harboring pro-Palestinian sentiment, and they got fucking suspended while they were in class. So knowing that, obviously, college students did exactly what they've done in the past as well. Specifically in 1968, they took over Hamilton Hall. They took over Hamilton Hall in an effort to defend themselves against the potential onslaught and to continue demonstrating. The irony, of course, is that despite the fact that these fucking dipshits came in with police brutality, it most likely will not stop students from protesting, even though you don't think these students deserve this for having an unorganized protest? Bro, you cannot be trying to debate me right now. You cannot try to debate me right now in the midst of all this with the dumbest fucking takes possible to run a 3-minute ad break at the top of the fucking hour. Here is some footage from inside the tunnels. They do have Hamas tunnels underneath the fucking Hamilton Hall as well, by the way. Ironic.
Okay, so the tunnels right now are kind of crowded. There's some people checking in here. The door to Hamilton remains locked, but if we go up these set of stairs out into the situation, this is the passageway between Hartley and Wallach, facing campus. It's already cleared out when we're facing Amsterdam on this side of the gate.
Where's the ACLU and all this? They're nowhere. There's nothing. There's no the National Guild of Lawyers is supposed to be there on scene as legal observers. You know what happened to them? The NYPD fucking packed them into to John Jay Hall. They kicked them out.
The air smells a little bit like natural gas, which isn't typical. There's a slight like rancid smell. That is the door to Hamilton. It's starting to smell.
Look at the way the media is covering it. Police breach occupied building at Columbia, remove students from campus. Democracy dies in the darkness, by the way. They're just removing students from campus. They're just moving them from point A to point B.
Oh, quite bad in here, which isn't typical. So I'm guessing some tear gas is either leaking out from outside Hamilton or just leaking through.
Are you sure you should be showing these videos without screening them? They're showing people's faces. Brother, what the fuck are you talking about? It's literally CUAD sending me the videos. What do you mean? I am currently coordinating with the student demonstrators.
That passageway we just came from into here.
Huh. There's more. Radio show says the arrest seemed to have stopped. Yeah, I think they probably breached it. They breached Hind Hall.
The police were infiltrating Columbia. The second was from Public Affairs at 9:59 p.m. and attached there was a letter from President Shafiq to the NYPD. But once again, we have received no direct correspondence from the president. Ale, go ahead.
That is correct, Macy. And in fact, the most appalling, well, not the most appalling, that is a high bar tonight, but an incredibly appalling thing is that there have been absolutely no direct communications with the student body about these decisions. The letter requesting coverage by the letter requesting support by the NYPD until May 17th, which, as I said, is not only 2 days after university commencement, but 1 day after senior graduation. So that means keeping police presence on campus until all students are gone. That email did not only not go out to students, but for about 10 minutes was offline. Students were receiving messages that they were not authorized to act.
Dude, it's awesome. Seriously, though, like, come on. They did do illegal things. Like, civil disobedience is great and all, but that ain't very civil. Yeah, you're right, dude. It's actually way more dangerous to occupy a campus space as students. And certainly not an infinitely more dangerous precedent being set by the university for arbitrarily suspending students for potential pro-Palestinian sentiment, sending the fucking militant dogs to violently arrest them and apprehend them. You know, what's a better precedent Who is the power player here? Or do you just always capitulate the power unconditionally? Yes, Farley is barking at Murat. Man, think about the optics, I say, as I watch the Gestapo brutalize 18-year-old fucking anti-genocide protesters. Think of the optics. The pearls that I am clutching currently, you do not understand. Think of the optics as I watch fascist military psychopaths beat the shit out of students protesting against genocide, protesting against their participation, their unwilling participation in genocide. All right, bro, I appreciate the point. I just think there's a better way to go about it. Why don't you fucking do it then? But you don't want to do anything. That's the problem. You're just here to fucking chirp. You don't want to do shit. That's it. Bro, here's how you know this is dumb as fuck. Okay? People complained about the broken glass in order to enter Hamilton Hall. The cops broke a whole ass window and beat the shit out of students. Who's done more material harm to the university now? And it cost a couple million easy in overtime alone just to do that. Think, chatter, think. The university stopped the negotiations, arbitrarily started suspending students, and sicked the fucking rabid dogs of the state on these students for the crime of protesting against their unwilling participation in the Israeli apartheid and Israel's genocide. Okay, is this stream sponsored by Qatar? No, dickhead. This stream is sponsored by your mommy. Okay? That's right. I fuck her every night. And she loves it. And instead of spending it on you getting new chicken nuggets, she gives me the money. I'm your dad now. I'm your stepfather. Nay, the father that stepped up. And you got to cut it with this fucking arbitrary defense, like this reflexive defense of those in positions of power. Qatari Dancer, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. There you go. It is sponsored by Qatar.
I don't think I can say much more. I'm sorry.
Yep, thank you so much for that, Ian. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all the hard work that you have done
Just listen to the fucking students covering the issue. Just listen to the students. Listen to the students and how fucking terrified they were as the psychopathic pigs ran through and ransacked the halls. Who do you think they're more afraid of? Do you think they're more afraid of these psychopathic cops? Here's a video. Here's another video. Cop pointing a gun through the window. Cop pushing the barricades onto the protesters.
Get over there! Just walk around!
Who is more damaging to the institution, you think?
That paragraph now because it bears repeating. Quote, we called on NYPD to clear an encampment once, but we all share the view, based on discussions within our community and with outside experts, that to bring back the NYPD at this time would be counterproductive, further inflaming what is happening on campus and drawing thousands to our doorstep who would threaten our community. End quote. Now, I recognize the situation has changed. In fact, the occupation of Hamilton Hall is, of course, a pretty serious escalation of the situation on April 26th when this email was sent. But I cannot say that I expect anything less than what we saw after the previous arrests in terms of, and I quote, further inflaming what is happening on campus and drawing
Columbia
thousands
Rich Kid
to our
Theater.
doorstep who would threaten our community.
Dude, isn't it wonderful to always fucking act like an edgy piece of shit online? That way no one can... Here's another good take from CNN, unintentionally.
And police clearly getting ready to go in. I've covered lots of this sort of stuff around the world, and I've never seen this many police moving into one area.
Okay, let's talk about the shot we're now. Hey, Miguel,
how many,
this shot we're seeing now. Where is this?
Anderson's like, hey, can you shut the fuck up, please? Can you shut the fuck up? Can you shut the fuck up and start talking about how these guys are terrorists and stuff? Can you give me the good shit that I need to hear? Okay, excuse me. What do you mean you haven't seen this? It's called They Deserved It, the students. They deserve a 9/11 ×2, actually. If I could do that to the Columbia protesters, I would do it. I, Anderson Cooper, would do it. The more I hear that fucking asshole's coverage on the student protesters, the more I understand why there was that meta of him, like, specifically wearing an IDF sweatshirt all the time, apparently, to the gym. Where the fuck did I hear that from? Where was that? Anderson Vanderbilt Cooper. Anderson CIA internship Cooper. Always relevant. When I was a secretary in an architecture firm, Anderson Cooper was a client and he would often wear an IDF sweatshirt. What the fuck are you talking about? Anderson Cooper has an important point here. Yeah, no, he's so right. He's so right. He's always right, dude. At the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break, and Anderson is right to fucking recognize it. And you know what? Many of you who are unsubscribed are going to fucking see that ad. Unless you subscribe for $5 or for free. If you don't want to see the ads, you got to subscribe. That's it.
Property has now been cleared. Hundreds of officers on Columbia's campus tonight after the university asked them to clear out pro-Palestinian protesters who had set up an encampment and taken over a building.
10 people no longer see ads at the top of the hour.
And loaded onto buses. Columbia University putting out a statement reading in part, quote, "We believe the group that broke into and occupied the building is led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university."
Oh,
the decision to reach out to the NYPD was in response to the actions of the protesters, not the cause they are championing. Early Tuesday, protesters...
How much you want to bet they're going to say all the suspended students are technically unaffiliated with campus? Even though some of them literally were being suspended as they were inside of that fucking, inside of Hamilton Hall. As the student journalists reported on, for the past 2 weeks, the campus has been completely shut off. Access from anyone and everyone that does not have a Columbia student ID, an active Columbia student ID.
And the presence was just so enormous. You know, early in the night, we started seeing the arrival of the search teams from the NYPD, the strategic response teams. And that's when you really knew something was about to go down
Ghost,
here.
thank you for the 10 gifted.
And it was just stunning to see the amount of officers that started just descending on the campus, onto the area around the campus. And there were, you know, hundreds of officers that started moving in, and then more units started moving in. And then really the most serious action and some of the most heavily armed, some of the most tactical officers from the NYPD started arriving here on the Amsterdam side of the campus outside of Hamilton Hall to enter the building. It's clear that they had been planning for this since probably early this morning when things took a significant turn after several of the protesters stormed Hamilton Hall, got inside. The NYPD, you get a sense that the entire day was spent planning this, just when you look at the enormous response. And so the emergency services officers responded here. And then we saw that heavily armed vehicle, it's called a Bearcat, and they went up against Hamilton Hall, going inside, dozens of officers climbing up on the truck and going through the window into Hamilton Hall, where they went room by room, clearing the hall, clearing the area, making several arrests, clearing the campus. They actually let some of the people on the campus, they told them to leave.
What the fuck?
Some voluntarily left. Dozens of others were arrested. And just a short time ago, it all just came to an end. Many of those officers who went in.
It didn't come to an end. Columbia University demanded or said to the NYPD that they need to stick around until May 17th. So no, it actually didn't come to an end at all. As a matter of fact, it came to the opposite situation, where now they are going to have permanent police presence on fucking campus. I just can't understand how all of this is happening when the police have been so egregiously defunded. So odd
I
to me.
have never seen a response like this, a mobilization like this, the way the NYPD came in with such force, with such precision. And it's clear, in part, this was to send a message, in part to protect themselves. Something very significant
look at this fucking boomer
happened here. It seems that they probably got
this fucking boomer, bro. We thought we fucking shot someone. Breaking. NYPD officer at Columbia University texting, thought we fucking shot someone while on campus outside of Hind Hall. Hind Hall. Bro can't see. He's old. Old ass pig. Look at that large ass text, dude. Unk watch. Ha! Bro's texting. This is like when those fucking old racists get caught on an airplane. You know what I'm talking about? When like old ass racists will be like typing in fucking 54-point font and they'll be like, there's blacks around me. And then like everyone is like, dude, we can see what you're typing on your fucking phone. Wow, they never use those. Sal, they straight up breached the what? They straight up breached the building. Then SRG, CRT. CRT! Wait! CRT on college campuses. DEI. Hold on now. CRT on college campuses not on my watch. What? I swear, what? I swear not mad. I saw org not mad. What the fuck? Oh. I saw SRG not ESU. Good thing that this cop with very obvious brain damage you can't fucking see has a gun. As the NYPD Strategic Response Group leads the crackdown in Colombia, I'm reminded how the SRG was originally pitched as an elite counter-terror unit that will stop ICE attacks. 9 years on, and they're primarily used to spy and arrest protesters and clear out homeless camps. For those of you who are wondering why the media is so pro-cop, this is all this is their job. The media's job and the cops' job is to protect the interests of capital. Okay, that's it. The media's job is to normalize the violence that you experience and make you feel like it's actually totally permissible that a bunch of fucking 48-year-olds with weapons just storm through a private Ivy League institution to beat the shit out of fucking 18-year-old protesters for saying, hey, I don't think my tuition dollars should go to fucking Israel doing a genocide. Like, that's it. That's the whole job of the media, is to basically tell your dumb fucking parents and your dumbass grandparents that, like, that's totally valid, actually. And they usually do a pretty good job. The difference now, however, is that with the invention of the phone camera and social media, it becomes much harder to just kind of keep a good grasp on that. You know? It becomes much harder to manufacture consent when we can just see what you're doing, and you have motherfuckers who are like, excuse me, that's ridiculous. That's actually kind of ridiculous that you did that. That's why there's a massive difference in opinion with people who watch people like myself, people who watch fucking TikToks, versus people who get all of their information from Anderson Cooper. I've shown you time and time again that since October 7, every violent action that was documented on camera that Israel was committing, every atrocity, was immediately in real time contextualized by CNN. They would have an IDF guy show up with his big fat fucking head like Jonathan Concuncrius or whatever, that fucking Frankenstein's monster looking piece of shit. He'd be like, yes, these are terror babies. You are seeing Anderson Cooper. You are seeing the babies of terror. We are fighting against darkness. Okay? Why do you think that was the case? Well, there was a deliberate media effort to try to manufacture consent, to try to massage the narrative, to try to contextualize all matter of violence that Israel was doing to the Palestinian civilian population. But of course, with social media, this has become basically impossible. The dam is broken.
People who live in the dorms here at the university, and they're able to sort of just stand out on the windowsills themselves and watch everything going on. But while it is done on the inside, it's certainly not done on the outside. Just a short time ago here at 113th, protesters are gathering. They're yelling at police, and police are still trying to control the situation outside of campus. You can see all the people across Amsterdam Avenue. They have set up an enormous cordon around the university here. Broadway is shut down both directions from 113 to 120th. Amsterdam is also shut down. So both sides, both avenues.
Remember, we aren't very smart as a population. We like to think that we are, but we're not. And those who are seemingly the most educated still obviously heavily rely on mainstream media. Now, I rely on mainstream media as well. I think it's very important for it to exist. I will never knock journalism in general. But I also have at least a little bit of media literacy. To the best of my ability, this is what I try to teach others as well on this broadcast. I look at the same exact things that they're looking at, but of course, I try to parse through that propaganda as best as I can. Many people don't do that. Many people are like, yeah, this is exactly what the fuck I trust. This is what they're telling me. I have no reason to think that CNN is going to lie to me or massage the narrative. And it's basically little by little every single day. If you rely on CNN unconditionally without ever questioning what you're seeing with your own two fucking eyes, you're inevitably going to start believing in the narrative that they're portraying, that these students for the past week were actually really violently and virulently anti-Semitic. Jewish counter-protesters, Zionist counter-protesters were Jewish, and they were all scared because of the virulent anti-Semitism that they'd fucking heard. You know what I mean? They just Jewish students kept hearing about how scary and how violently anti-Semitic these student protesters were. And if you don't actually see the student protests, and the media rarely ever shows them, and when they do, they're certainly not showing them in a fucking good light, ultimately, you're gonna agree with what they're saying. They've been demanding police brutality non-fucking stop for the past 2 weeks. They're like, we gotta Kent State these fuckers. Pack watch. Get these 18-year-old shitheads out of here. Your parents are going to see these news. Your parents are going to be watching this and developing that framework. That's why I think it's good that we do this kind of real-time coverage and try to show you a different perspective, oftentimes directly from the students themselves. Like this entire time, I've been relying on the CUAD students, the campus organizers, to offer me insight into what's going on inside of Hamilton Hall. You know, and I'm doing that specifically to reframe the conversation. I'm doing that specifically to show you what is actually going on that is unvarnished and unfiltered. Crazy, because they went from calling Tom Cotton a psycho to agreeing with him basically like within a week or so. Yeah. And then people engage in the cycle of debate because everyone wants to remain, like, everyone wants to behave like they are the smartest guy in the room. So then they'll start debating you. They'll start saying stuff like, well, why did they break property if they didn't want fucking police to come through? To which your question should be, how much property did the police fucking destroy in an effort to apprehend these student protesters? What do you think is worse? One window being broken, or 1,000 windows fucking being broken, and hundreds of student protesters getting fucking violently and brutally arrested for the crime of doing what exactly? That's right, the crime of fucking wanting to divest from Israel's apartheid mechanisms. They broke every fucking door. That's what the cops did. They broke every goddamn door. So if you genuinely cared about the harm being done to the fucking property in and of itself, which you of course don't, there is no, this is ridiculous. It would be absolutely unimaginable. And all of that was done with taxpayer dimes too. Your parents fucking paid for that. My biggest difference between most members of, like, most white Western, supposedly social democratic and, like, you know, self-avowed liberals and leftists alike, my biggest deviation from them oftentimes is on American foreign policy. And this is, unsurprisingly to many, the one issue where liberals and Republicans, conservatives alike, are completely aligned. It's not an accident that what you hear from CNN is not all that different from what you hear from Fox News. Sure, Fox News is a little bit more racist, but ultimately CNN, MSNBC, they all were championing, brutalizing these protesters, brutalizing these pro-Palestinian protesters. These protests were a failure? No, they weren't. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. This kind of defeatist, dumbass mentality is just so fucking annoying. Mad respect. Pull a Finkelstein more often. He's a gaming frog. Do not ban. No, I'm not going to ban them. I just, like, my mom thinks they're obnoxious. I'm sorry, chatter. Your mom is kind of fucking obnoxious then. What the fuck do you mean? That's ridiculous. She protested Vietnam. That's awesome. Yeah, your mom is the quintessential fucking boomer, dude. That's awesome. I agree with you. No, the protests are not a failure. But also, to be fair, your mom, it's unsurprising that your mom, who protested against Vietnam, now has this hardline reactionary stance against people who are doing the modern version of that. That's just how it goes. It's up to you to try to convince her, to explain to her that what these guys are doing is identical to what she did in college. MSNBC, man. Yeah, fuck MSNBC. MSNBC can suck my dick. MSNBC's job is to defend Joe Biden unconditionally. The war in Vietnam was unjustified, though. Yeah, you're right. Israel's genocide, on the other hand, is perfectly justified. Thank you. The more this community grows, or the more this community goes back to like the 30K concurrent viewership, the more you will see a lot of October 7 leavers coming back to chirp. It's okay. Welcome back. Okay? Welcome back. It's great to have you here. I hope I can once again convince you it's all right. That dude has been a hater since 2018, though, so I doubt it. I think that's just a straight up Destiny dick rider. But regardless. History will vindicate me.
Weapons,
and all
because
of you,
they knew they
you
were
have been on the
dealing with
right
kids.
side of history.
They knew they were dealing with protesters. They knew they were likely to be unarmed, but they also knew that the possibility was that they might meet some kind of resistance, as they'd seen in earlier protests.
You know, John, we're seeing some footage from earlier tonight and also some live footage of people who are on the streets. And just, we are learning that the university has been asking for the NYPD to maintain some level of presence through at least even May 17th. I mean, shortly it will be May 1st, but that's at least almost a 3-week period at that point in time to have additional police presence. What would that look like in terms of the amount of police that would be present? It can't possibly be the numbers we're talking about here and we're seeing from tonight, but what would that look like?
So that's going to be a judgment call about what that would look like. So first of all, let's say why. What does it mean? What it means is that a few hundred police officers came up to clear the kids who were, and both students and non-students, who were camped out on that piece of ground. And then when that operation was over, life resumed, and they came back and they recamped out. So at this point, the college, Columbia University, has made the decision, if we're going to retake that ground for the second time, when we retake it, we have to have a program to hold it, because we have graduation coming up in just a couple of weeks, and we don't want to have to keep doing this either to that ground or the buildings. So the police can do a minimal presence there, which is they can put Jersey barriers, not Jersey barriers, they can put the bicycle barriers around that piece of land. They can have some limited access, controlled access, or no access as they prepare to set up for graduation.
You think all of this is good? Like this is the only way to deal with it? My way or the highway? We're just going to increasingly stress out students. We're going to fuck up graduation. That's crazy. Like furthering the crackdown, further stifling free speech on college campuses with the brutal arm of the state. Ridiculous shit, dude. All so that Columbia does not divest and continues funding Israel's genocide. That's awesome. Wonder how many people engaged in fair hopping while these cops were fucking busy doing this shit. Arrest happening at City College's police attempt to clear sidewalk in front of college gates.
Whoa! Whoa!
NYPD is raiding Cooney right now.
No. I'm right next to the encampment. Police officers are not currently dispatching the encampment. I got your umbrella. Oh, yeah. The cops are not dismantling the encampment. Here's the encampment right now. I'm live, CCNY campus. I'm live. I'm inside the barricades. Again, nobody can get into CCNY. Nobody can get onto the campus.
Your
Not
tweets
students,
today
not
have
faculty,
attracted the
not
attention of the
anybody
most
with any reason to
psychotic
be there.
freaks I've ever
Maybe
seen.
except for
It's
police officers
insane.
and security can get onto
Do like I do. I don't even look at the
campus right
replies.
now.
Or duke it out
I'm
with them in
live,
the
I'm
replies.
inside,
I don't really
I'm at the
care.
barricade, I'm inside
But
the barricades.
I usually don't even look at the replies on my tweets.
Of what's going on inside the encampment. 50
They're
arrests.
filthy little freaks, dude. Little perverts. They're like, yeah, I love seeing students being fucking brutalized. Ooh, it's my favorite.
Numbers are not confirmed, though.
No, the cops are just working class people doing their jobs. No need to hate on working people. No, I will hate on fucking the cops.
Some more information about that?
No, thank you.
I don't know if there's any other.
You should post a video where you cry about
A
it.
lot of press around earlier. I don't
Current hostages of Hamas terrorists from October 7.
a press badge.
We cannot use the library or any resources.
It's bullshit.
We cannot use any.
Talking to press out here.
Push from both sides. There were NYPD behind us and SWAT in front of us.
Oh, they locked in medics and journalists at Columbia, John Jay.
NYPD operations at Columbia destroyed a bus stop.
The SWAT was coming at us as if we were.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. All right. What is Aaron Rupar posting about? Beware of nihilism masquerading as leftism. There's a lot of that going on right now. Genuinely, I never believed that my college would ever do this to their students. Call me naive, but I truly did believe that the college would never showcase so much hate and violence towards students who they accepted to do the exact thing they are now being brutalized for right now. Meanwhile, this is what he was retweeting while Columbia was being raided. Yes, let's go straight to fascism then. That's the ticket. Wait, what? Bro, I don't understand. They literally are doing fascism. Like, you can't be like, oh, the other side is going to be worse while you're doing the bad thing. You're demonstrating to people why a vote for you doesn't fucking matter. A vote for...
building, you see that's the Butler Library, and the West Lawn, where everything really began and popped off at Columbia here almost 2 weeks ago. You see the tents are still up from the original
What's up,
encampment
naivety?
that Columbia had.
Thank you for being out there, brother.
To be cleared on Monday. Behind it, there's bleachers already set up for graduation. That's coming up in about 2 weeks, as we've been saying. But it's eerie, Laura. It is so quiet on campus. There is basically not a soul. It's just NYPD. It is. You can hear a pin drop in this campus right now, as you can imagine. And I heard Shimon's description of how precisely the NYPD worked with Columbia to get people out and clear campus. They have done an excellent job at that because it is there's not a soul. You can see students up in the residences.
I see that. I see that behind.
Dude, that's not American logic. It's also Israel logic. It's just fascist logic. The chatter that said, American logic, let's do preemptive violence because we fear that there might be violence from the students. That's exactly what every power center does. My mom just texted me and shared her outrage stating that these entitled little shits should just leave if they hate this country so much, and said, you literally are a Republican now. And I said, you literally are a Republican now. Yeah. So many people are just like straight up right wing as hell.
School has really stood up for all of us affiliated with the school and brought us back in. I was not expecting to be let in, but as the school somehow negotiated that with the NYPD and we were escorted back in, everyone is kind of in shock that this is happening at our school, you know, and I'm speaking here as a student as well. I mean, I didn't expect this to happen in my school. Obviously, we saw the escalation over the past few days. It had to lead to something. So we knew this was coming, but it's still shocking. And it's still very jarring to see, to hear. And this is basically, and I'm sharing a little bit more.
All right.
Through a little bit. This has been basically a bunker.
We're seeing some images too, Julia, as you're showing us. We're also seeing images from earlier tonight, as well as the officers going in and out of Hamilton Hall, and to the point you were just raising about what the students are thinking. And I want to get right back to you, but I want to bring in Jonas Dew, who's editor-in-chief of the Columbia Sundial and a junior at Columbia University. You're on campus right now. I was just talking to my colleague about what she was seeing in the vantage point from even the journalism school, having a little bit of trouble with her audio, but you're on campus right now. What can you see?
So I am on campus property. I am actually in a friend's dormitory building. But this dorm is not actually within the campus gates. And so what has happened is that all of today, Columbia students, even Columbia students that live in housing, we couldn't access campus if we didn't live in a couple specific dorms that are within the gates. So as a journalist, I was out on 114th Street trying to photograph the police, trying to photograph where they were coming in and bringing the protesters out. And so in preparation for that, what the police did was they pushed basically everyone on the street into the nearest building and made us remain there. I'm not sure if that restriction is still in place. I believe it is, which is why I've just been in this building the whole time. And, you know, we actually went up to the roof, to one of the upper levels, and we could see sort of onto the street. We could see the buses. They had like 5 or 6 police buses, massive police buses coming in. We saw them bring out the protesters. There were massive protests going on Amsterdam Avenue, and they were, you know, jeering as the police were bringing the protesters out. We saw a couple protesters try to obstruct the road, sit down, you know, make it hard for the police officers, and the police, you know, took care of that. We saw a woman who was, you know.
I'm not going to cover the Kendrick Lamar diss tonight, and I'm also not going to play The Walking Dead tonight. We obviously did 9 hours and 30 minutes of coverage because shit popped off at Columbia University. I apologize for everybody who wanted me to finish The Walking Dead tonight. I will do that tomorrow. I promise. Okay. I promise. I apologize.
Population, but are you getting a sense from your peers and your fellow students?
I'm tired, man.
That those who were arrested recently are students or from outside the institution?
Well, it's really hard to say, but there has to be some level of student involvement. At the end of the day, you need students. Well, even though campus has been locked down to Columbia ID holders, now there have been ways of getting non-affiliates into campus. But for the most part, you need Columbia IDs. You need students to provide you with IDs so that you can get into campus. I think there is evidence that there is sort of outside organizations behind the planning of the occupation, but there certainly are numerous students who are, you know, who were inside Hamilton Hall. And, you know, last night as I was reporting on the barricade and on the occupation, I recognized many Columbia students in the crowd that was forming the human chains around the entrances to Hamilton Hall. So this is, at the end of the day, it's still a student-fueled movement. It wouldn't have gotten sort of to the extent it has gotten without the involvement of the student organizations here.
It's an important point. I mean, I wonder, are you getting communication from the university? I mean, are you guys getting emails? Are you getting phone alerts? How are you being communicated with the university? I'm assuming, you know, we in the media obviously knew about the request that was being made. It was public. It would be a request made to NYPD. When were you first informed as a student body that it was happening? And what has been the communication since?
It's been virtually radio silence from the university, which is
Really?
actually very shocking. And so what we have received are, but during the day, they told us there's, an illegal occupation of Hamilton Hall. Students might face expulsion, all of that. And then, in the evening, as the NYPD, they were gathering around campus, we got a text message alert and an email saying that there was a shelter-in-place order and that we needed to stay in our dorms and not go out onto campus or not explore the area. No specifics.
I feel like he's trying to say that SJP is an outside org, but that is made of students. CNN wants him to say something else. Yeah, CNN wants to hear that like Hamas is there, and he's like.